Hello everyone, I'm Autobot the Telltale Gamer, bringing latest and everything Telltale games, Transformers, and more. So today we've got more news regarding The Walking Dead, the final season. Today marks the start of San Diego Comic-Con 2018, and with it, Telltale has premiered a brand new 45-second trailer showing off episode 1 of The Walking Dead, the final season, which may or may not be called Done Running, as you saw in my previous Walking Dead final season video, where I said that maybe Jesus might be coming back. So this trailer shows us a brief plot and look at the plot of episode 1 of the final season, as well as a couple new characters and new looks at some old ones, which might give some credence to some of my theories about certain characters all the way back in my PAX review a couple months ago. So first off, I'm just gonna play the trailer one more time for all of you in case you haven't seen it yet, and then we'll go into analyzing it.
We haven't seen anything like you in ever. Kids are safe here. We make sure of it.
I've always taken care of myself. Can we stay here? It's hard to trust people sometimes. Places change, so do people.
Clem, you're in danger. You and AJ both.
Okay, so this trailer starts off with a scene I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with. It starts with this shot of Clementine looking at the boarding school upon being introduced by Marlon, and we see 10 actually there along with a couple of other kids. Now, what's interesting about this shot is that it's been shown already at E3 2018. This shot was shown during a gameplay session. However, the only difference being in that gameplay, it wasn't bright daytime like early morning as it shows right here, and instead it was a lot more towards dusk-y, and Clementine did not have this bandage on her head with this little wound on the right side of her head. She did not. Instead, she just didn't have her hat, and you could see on the right side of her face she had the bump on her forehead from that you would get during the Kenny flashback, in which she slams her head against the steering wheel after getting into the car accident with Kenny. So anyways, after this scene is entirely ripped straight from the final season E3 2018 gameplay demo, in which Clementine is looking at the boarding school, and then we see Marlon walk up from behind her, who Telltale has confirmed is the leader of the boarding school, which makes sense considering how in the PAX concept art that showed the headmaster's office with a bunch of arrows in it, and since we know Marlon is an archer, this pretty much confirms that Marlon is the leader of the boarding school community. So anyway, Marlon walks up behind Clementine, tells her that a lot of kids have been living here for a long time and he doesn't want Clementine to be putting them in danger. As we do this, we see Clementine walk past this one kid who seems to be carrying a bunch of firewood and such, and Clementine remarks that she can take care of herself, less so a bunch of kids. After that, we get this one shot, which I think is pretty cool. We get our first in-engine look of Rosie. Actually, we see who I think is Marlon, Clementine. I think that's Lewis in the back. Be two people to the right of Clementine, along with two other unknown characters, maybe hunting or checking traps. And then we see Rosie run off in front of them. We see Clementine armed with what looks like a knife, and Marlon has his compound bow at the ready, which we saw in his concept art, which I think though in the concept art was more of a traditional bow instead of this high-tech compound bow, but I don't know. Anyway, we cut to this quick shot of Clementine getting ready to use a knife inside this little rusted down area, which is another thing we saw in the E3 2018 footage of Clementine battling walkers in the new unscripted dialogue, scripted combat scenarios, which is very similar to, in my opinion, to the combat in Minecraft story mode with seasons 1 and 2, which you'd have the health bar and you could move back and forward and dodge the zombies and creepers to attack them. It's very reminiscent of that. We also get the shot, surprisingly, of Clementine using a bow, very similarly to Ellie from The Last of Us, getting very big vibes to that of Clementine using a bow. So I'm assuming maybe either Marlon teaches Clementine how to use a bow, or she somehow figured it out during the 4 years in between this and New Frontier. That's pretty much all we have from that. Afterwards, we have another scene ripped straight from the E3 2018 of AJ talking to Clem inside one of the bunks in the boarding school, in which AJ asks Clem if she thinks it's safe here, in which Clementine says that people change all the time. Now, the interesting thing about here is that Clementine in this shot does not have her hat, while when this scene was shown in E3 2018, she did have her hat. So will losing Clementine's hat be determinant, or did they just have her hat on in that clip because it wanted, because it was early footage and they didn't want to spoil the game. I have no idea. An interesting thing to note about this though shot is that as soon as Clementine says people change all the time, we see cut to Lewis smiling at presumably Clementine as he finished playing on a piano. Now this screams to me that Lewis has some sort of ulterior motive, because I've called this back since when he was first introduced to the pack trailer, because I want to like Lewis, but I feel like he's going to be an antagonist, like he's going to be revealed to be a traitor halfway through the game, I think. So while this shot doesn't say anything menacing about Lewis, I still can't help think that Lewis is going to be an antagonist at some point in the final season. After that, we also get a look at Violet, who's going to probably become my favorite character in the final season. We see her looking at, I presume, Clem in another bunk area. Maybe she comes in to check on Clem and AJ later on in the episode. I have no idea. But after that, we also get this really interesting shot of 10 looking at 2 graves. Now, some could argue that these are just some dead kids, but to me, I feel like this may be 10's parents. And so, because there's a lot of mystery surrounding 10, and Telltale has confirmed that in the second half of the game, we'll focus a lot on 10. Now, we know that The Walking Dead final season will only be 4 episodes. That feels like to me that 10 will play a major part in this season. Episodes 3 and possibly episode 4 will be focused a lot on finding out what happened to 10's parents, and how he got that giant burn on the side of his face. Hey everyone, this is just a little note I just found out while I was editing together this video. If you look really closely on the graves that 10 is looking at, you can see there are names carved into them. Specifically, on the left grave, you can see the name Minerva on it, and on the right one, it looks like something with an S. I can't quite see what that one says, but I know the one on the left is definitely Minerva. So if the one on the right is some kind of male name, please feel free to leave me know in the comments, because I think this may actually get proved closer that these are the graves of 10's parents and not just some random kids. After that, we get another look of Clem wandering the boarding school halls by herself with a candle. This is very similar to one of the screenshots that was shown for The Walking Dead final season back in E3 of Clementine holding up candle as she explored the basement of what I presume to be is the dorm. As we do this, we hear a character talking to Clem, saying that she and AJ are in danger. Now, when I first saw this trailer, I thought this was Violet talking to Clementine, but if you turn on the subtitles for the YouTube version of the final season trailer, this reveals that it is a character named Brody. Now, I have no idea who Brody is. He's apparently, I think he might be a main character we just haven't seen yet, similarly to Marlon, Lewis, and 10, and Violet. But apparently not everything is as it seems in the boarding school. Nothing can ever go right for Clementine, as is per tradition for The Walking Dead. So anyways, after we get a brief look of Clementine going out to the side to check on AJ, we see a shot of Clementine holding a flashlight. It's really blurred. It looks like there's water behind her, as if this place is flooded. It looks kind of like the basement that she expects to get in the screenshot, but I'm not quite sure. We then have a shot here of Clementine, AJ, and surprisingly Violet hiding from walkers. Now, this is a shot I think that was shown already. If you remember back at E3 when we saw the screenshot of Clementine and AJ hiding away from walkers in the train station, I think this is that scene, and that Violet was there, but we never saw Violet in that screenshot. I think Violet is perhaps maybe helping Clementine and AJ break out of the boarding school. Who knows? This is reinforced by this next shot in which we see Clementine and AJ running with Violet away from a bunch of walkers as they're seen carrying 2 bags of supplies, which I assume it's a boarding school behind them. So I'm really glad to see that Violet is going to become a main character in this season, because I'm thinking there's no way they're gonna make the Molly Jane / 4.0 Molly 4.0 a side character. I definitely think that Violet is probably gonna be one of the most important characters this season, and I'm really glad that we're gonna be seeing more of her. Anyway, we get cut to a couple other shots of Clementine going through a forest looking at a bunch of rock swing traps, which I assume this might be on her way to the boarding school and maybe not while she's there. We see this other shot of Marlon, Clementine, Lewis, and a bunch of other kids. I assume it looks like they're surrounded by walkers. I'm not sure. No, they're not surrounded by walkers. They're looking in shock or something. And then we see this final shot of our first non-child character in The Walking Dead the final season, smoking a cigar at very menacingly. So the big question is, who exactly is this guy? Now, to me, if you ever watched the Walking Dead TV show, this guy looks a lot like Simon, aka the Negan's right-hand man of the Saviors. He kind of looks like him with a hairdo and the mustache, kind of. A lot of people are actually saying this also might be Nate, who you may know from Russell's story in The Walking Dead 400 Days, a character that a lot of people have wanted to come back since he was a fan favorite in 400 Days. But I don't think it will be Nate, because if you look closely, it might also just be because of the light. This guy has two colored eyes. He's got some really bad case of heterochromia here. It could also be that the eye on his left is a glass eye, but I think more likely it's got heterochromia. I think this is a new character, because there's no way that Telltale would show off a new character like this and not make them a introduced character. Now, if you remember back in the very first Walking Dead Season 2 trailer, when they tried to tease us with that Kenny was coming back in Episode 1, but it was actually Nick. Then think of the Walking Dead New Frontier Episode 1 and 2 trailer, when they showed David at the end. We thought it was Lily or Kenny, but once again it was David. So I don't think that this character is anyone we've seen before in the Walking Dead series. I think this is a brand new character. I think he may be, I'm not sure if I don't think he's someone who is part of the Boardwalk Community. I think he's definitely a new character that's going to serve as an antagonist to the to Clementine's group. I'm not sure if he'll be the main antagonist. I still think that role will belong to Lewis. But yeah, that's all really I can think of. And so yeah, that was my analysis of The Walking Dead, the final season San Diego Comic-Con trailer. Are you guys excited for the game to premiere, which will premiere on August 14th for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, with a Switch version coming later this year? If you are, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.